Hello and welcome to Tiny Bunny, a little visual novel if I can remember that, and it's my first video completely in English because someone requested it for me because I have a kinda good voice or something. Maybe you can't hear it right now, but I will try my best. So let's start the game and have fun. The wind clawed at my window all night long. It wanted the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless song weaved from all sorts of voices, shrill, gentle, sneery, twinned in the air. They were shouting and laughing, and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, the creaky old mind of a building that had seen a lot in his days and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with the inhabitants. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination. I was already 12 after all, still. Hey, put away your book. How many times have I told you not to read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look at how slouched you are. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan the Barbarian aside. I was stuck on a line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyway. Olia had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was an enthusiast. She almost looked like your typical girl from commercials. You're not going anywhere until you finish all of it. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in the plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy anxiousness welled up inside, all because of the previous sleepless night, the black forest around our house and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy with substance became. I looked like a jellyfish from the Custe Odyssey. I love that show. I wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is, or how cold the black forest is at night. The spoon fell out of my hand. Mom showed me with a cold glare from her green eyes. What did I say? I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge once again. I felt around for the spoon. What is this carved on the other side of the table? Karina. Huh, that's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was a rascal, damaging the furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar, though. Should I remind her about it? No, she's been in a bit of bad mood lately. I imagined her being my age sitting under this table. I wonder, was Mom afraid of the dark back then? Or the sounds coming from the attic? Or the thick forest? I imagine my grandma coming into my little mom's room, sitting at the edge of her bed, where Olia sleeps nowadays, and saying this in her soft, smooth voice. Tiger is a special place, little girl. It's watching you closely, sniffing you out, trying to discern what kind of beast you are. If you're a good sort, it won't abandon you in times of trouble. But if you're a bad apple, it will grab you by the side and drag you under the ground. And that wouldn't be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. Those were the times without the mending, screaming until late at night, without smashing dishes and mutual accusation. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in on one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already bought a casket, and she called it her cute funeral box. I waited for its time in the closet, patiently. It was black, upholstered with meat, colored material on the inside. I saw it when my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive. Only all of the photos were gone. Glass-covered pictures with grey faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead, but watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olia was done with her cookie and was looking at my shell like a sly woodland critter. I turned my gaze toward the frosted window. There were a lot of dark pines outside, but they didn't grab my attention. The patter of frost formed a picture on the glass. Olia, look, it's a fox. Where? It looked almost like those optical illusion thingies they put on the back of the students' notebooks. A mixture of lines at first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle. Not outside, on the window. Look, there's the nose and ears. Hey, eat up. Yes, just a moment. I don't see anything. Hurry up, there's not much left. Ah, there it is, but it still doesn't look like one. And I'm telling you, it does. Nuh-uh. It does. Stop it. These kids, I swear. No, I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. Only the frosty pattern similar to stretches out nettle leaves keep creeping up the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with long measured steps. I want to have a beard like his when I'm growing up. Mom would always ask jokingly, "Come on, shave it off, it stinks." This was long ago. Nowadays rumbling doors and witty comebacks were an everyday occurrence. Olia always covered her ears whenever she heard something like, "What's the point in all this?" through the wall. "It's all for your sake," Dad would reply, "for the sake of our family." I always caught every song in fear of hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest word that started with a D. Dift. I don't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken into two different families. Anyways, your fox is nothing. I have an owl on my window. You and your old talk again. You said you will leave me just yesterday. Has anybody seen my car keys? I remember leaving them on the windsill. Right. Maybe you did and maybe not. You're a grown man, a father of two, and still. Karen, please stop. Just let me get ready in peace. Your keys under the basket near the phone. Well, thank you very much. Anton, stop making a martyr out of yourself and finish eating already. And the owl? There was no owl. But there was one. I had giant glowing eyes. Olia sprung up from the chair and placed her hands on her little face, imitating a pair of eyes with her fingers, the size of an apple each. Last year you did Baby in your closet and now this owl. But I saw it. Olia swifted her gaze back and forth from Dad to Mom to me, but couldn't find any support. Have you thought about befriending it? You know, like feeding it with imaginary mice. She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's still little. Olia pouted her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor cracked. Mom gave Dad a straight look. Oh, that look in her eyes. It's so uncomfortable to be pinned under it. Dad just snorted in reply and left, ringing with the keys he just found. A minute had passed, and the Zem song from The Little Mermaid echoed through the house. It was stored in an incredibly worn-out cassette tape, which Dad already had to glue together once. It's so easy to fix objects by gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Mom moved to the living room, and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances at the window. Ollie had trouble sleeping ever since we moved to this house. She would toss and turn or curl up into a ball under her blanket. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped to take her mind off all the troubles we had with the move and our parents. And then, Olia said she saw that flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Olia refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the O was just one of her nightmares. After tonight, I was unsure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? Just last night I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect in my new school. There was a couple of days left before the beginning of a new term. My imagination drew long twisted hallways that led to a classroom full of kids. But all the students behind the desk were simply dark figures, cut out using a template. Circular holes gasped in the middle of their faces, and pairs of eyes blinking inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creatures were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. Their cruel glares, filled with icy sneers, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down, stomp on me with their bloody shoes? The damn school can burn for all I care. I just wished for anything to happen to it. I just wished for anything to happen to it. Doesn't really matter what. I didn't want to go there that badly. I didn't want to see people who are just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of a new offensive name for me, worse than the previous one. I feel like the glasses I wore made me an outsider, or some sort of a monster. My gaze slid across the drawing hanging on the wall. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olia begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy, as of late. The small circles of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You've got the wrong number." Or Anton is not around. Anton is not around. I imagine my future classmate lying in their beds, just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all. But who would like a boy with thick glasses? I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. The house cracked, pressed by the wind. The condo was used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with a neighbor's drill, mumbling with the TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. Our current house, thought I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easy, going during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners, on the closet, cobwebs, and under the stairs. But they all woke up during the night. Something was watching me from every corner, almost as if the old photos of my deceased family with their ashes eyes were hanging on the wall in places of my drawings. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning. The attic was occupied by a noisy draft. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was, in fact, hearing music. It was already playing from a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed in with the sound of the wind, of the cracking old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that this music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It's not like someone was playing it there. amidst the cold, snowy night, right? Someone was dancing in the field. Black silhouettes I could barely make out, with the dark forest at the backdrop. They jumped around, basked in moonlight, bumped into a pile of snow, rolling around and crawled on all fours. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around, holding hands and whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows of a brief moment and then came back. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starlight abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly, the music had stopped. The dancing shadows froze in place, and I could swear pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by the pitch-black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around like the bird inside a cage. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back toward the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfect dark room and listened to some unwanted gas move and scrape around, looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right, then circled around the house. Now my guest should be at the front door. I jumped into the bed and covered myself with the blanket as if it could protect me. The shackle of fear locked my muscles. I remember the funeral, my grandma lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp like that of a tin doll. Ants running up and down the legs of chairs that had my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climbed up her head and pulled up her eyelids with her tiny legs. Then her winkly eyeballs would once again move inside their socket, and she would be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the whole procedure. And now, lying under the blanket and listening to squeaks and howls, I was repeating the same words. On the island of Pyong, underneath the bleamish sun, in the sea of color blue, stands a cabin made of wood. There lay lard and ashen hair, for the spawn from devil's lair, to feast and always leave alone God's faithful servant named Anton. Evil leave this house must, ash to ash, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hangman. And then the night dosed me with a new portion of boiling terror, the sound scratching out my eardrums. In reality, something or someone were scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing at wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intently, as if he was looking for someone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placing my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of darkness. And then the doorknob twitched slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter had no hands. The doorknob tilted once more, and then it started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door cracked and opened. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now you see. The door was wide open. The darkness writhed inside the carnivore's mouth of a doorway. Tell me. It was as if the night itself was calling up to me, flapping its dark wings and squeaking with rusty hinges. It was trembling and snarled by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out of the gaping black hole. Tony! My abdomen tightened and my chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. Before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me, "Tony, you asleep?" My sister's pale face protruded from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief. "Olia, I'm not sleeping. Did something happen?" Olia frowned and stuck out her low lips, a clear sign that she was about to cry. "It's there again, staring at me." "Shoo her away, Tony, please." "I'm so scared." The fear that was tormenting me just a minute ago crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olia down. "It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's going to harm you." Olia sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me, but was I sure myself? I have no idea. "Let's go to your room and watch the video. Sleeping Beauty, for example. You like that cartoon, don't you?" "Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have the scary bird?" That question took me by surprise. "Alright, let's watch Cinderella." My thoughts became tangled, fuzzy. What was that? What studied me with its eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon? The darkness was clinging to the window, and I couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. It couldn't be satisfied with a feast of lard and long ashen hair. "Tony, you coming?" Yes, just a moment." Hello again. This was Tiny Bunny. Not the full game, just a little peek, but I guess you got the point. You can play it for yourself. It's free on Steam. Just get it and have fun with it, and it's a pretty game, I have to say. I'm sorry for my voice. Sometimes it gets high, low. Sometimes it's pretty silently-ish. Well, it's a problem with the rendering and my biggest pro and whatever. Nobody cares about that. I hope you had fun with the little storytelling. And I put 2 little outtakes in the video after that, which I really found funny because it was so stupid. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If yes, you can subscribe me. Normally I'm talking German, which might be a problem, but yeah, maybe in the future I will do more videos on English. I don't know. I will see. So yeah, I hope you had fun, and we see you in the next video if you want. Until then, ciao. I remember listening in one. I remember listening in one. Oh my God! I remember listening in one on one. Fuck! I remember listening in one. Oh my God! I remember listening in one. On one. Okay. I remember listening in one. How in the fuck is that so hard? I don't get it. Tony, do you sleep?